Hello and a very warm welcome back to the garden. In this video I'm going to be showing you what we're going to be doing with this really big terracotta pot and how we're going to plant some spring bulbs and some top plants for a really winning spring display. You may remember this container because this is one that we bought specifically to grow some dahlias in and some cosmos, and we've had a spectacular summer display with these pots. But because this is such a lovely container, we want to make good use of it from now going into spring. So I've emptied it out. The dahlia has been repotted and that can get stored and saved over winter, and the cosmos have already died, so we've got as much flowering out of that, and they have come to an end, so that's gone. So we're in this pot at the moment. All I've done is put a piece of crock at the very bottom. So I'm going to first of all put a layer of compost in the bottom, and the compost I'm using is multi-purpose with just some added grit. So I'm just placing a generous layer on the bottom. And what I'm going to be planting in this container is some spring bulbs. So the first ones are going to be these lovely ones, which are silver chimes. Very, very highly fragrant, lovely white multi-flowered variety. And also some of Andrew's favourite, which is this beautiful Martinette. And this is the beautiful, another fragrant one with multi-heads. And this has lovely yellow outer flowers with a orange centre. And again, the perfume with these two combined is going to be phenomenal. So there's going to be lots and lots of perfume in our front garden by our front door this year. So first of all, what I'm going to make sure we do is check the bulbs to make sure that there's no squidgy ones before planting, because if they're squidgy they need to be thrown away and discarded because they're not going to be any use. And what I'm going to start by doing is just placing a layer of these at the very base of this planting, giving them plenty of space so they're not touching, but just making sure that they have plenty of room. But I also want these silver chimes, which are a slightly larger bulb, to be planted in amongst them. I don't have as many of these silver chimes, so I'm just going to place them around these other ones. So it's just a case of moving them around until you get the pattern that you desire. So we're looking at something like that. Now all of these have been tested to make sure that they're nice and firm. And as you can see, some of them have actually got some shoots already starting to come from them. So we need to be making sure we get these in. So that's all the daffodils planted. I'm going to save them other ones for the other pot. And then I'm going to put another layer of compost over the top of these. So when you're planting bulbs, you're looking to make sure that you plant them at least twice the depth of how tall they are. 3 times ideally, but at least twice. So it's good to find a nice tall pot like this one, so you've got lots and lots of space. So just giving them a nice firm down. And the next one is these lovely hyacinth bulbs. Now these were grown last year. So we're going to place these in here, and these are a beautiful variety called Gipsy Queen, and they are lovely, a lovely soft apricot colour, so quite unusual for a hyacinth, but it will look beautiful in this container. And then all we need to do then is pop the next layer of compost over the top of that. And that's all the bulbs I'm going to plant. The next is going to be the top layer of actual top plants. And just make sure you leave a little bit of space below the rim so that when the rain comes and when you water it, it doesn't all flow all over the sides, which would be not very good. So the first plant I'm going to plant here is a type of hellebore. So this is Helleborus niger Christmas Carol, and this is a lovely small variety that grows about 35 centimeters and has lovely creamy white open flowers throughout the winter, evergreen leaves, so it's going to look perfect in this container. So I'm just popping that in there, and just make sure you do give the roots a bit of a tease so it's not going round and round in the container if it's a little bit pot bound. And then the next one is a lovely grass, a lovely free growing grass, lovely tactile one, and this is called Carex Prairie Fire. So it's usually green, but what happens as we get into colder weather is this will turn a lovely orange colour. So this is delightful, this one. So I'm going to plant that at the other side. So it's good in these kind of containers to get lots and lots of contrast with leaves, with colours of flowers, just to give all that interest. And then around that I'm going to place some of these pansies. Now these ones I've chosen are some lovely creamy white with a lovely purple splotch around the centre. So I'm just going to plant these in the spaces I've got left. Now if you go to your garden centres at this time of year, you'll find an array of different plants to choose for containers over winter and through the spring. You'll be spoilt for choice. I know I was. I only came away with just these, but I could have quite happily bought the whole shop full of lovely plants. But I was quite restrained. I only chose just what I needed. There's also lots of evergreen shrubs you can buy that are quite small at this time of year that you find in the garden centres, and those are perfect for pot displays. And then once it gets into next year, you can then pop them into larger pots or into your garden, and they can grow to their mature sizes. So be careful, because when you do go to garden centre at this time of year and you do see those shrubs that are quite small in small pots, they're not miniature shrubs. Usually they're just small shrubs that you can then grow into larger sizes should you wish. I know I noticed one that was a eucalyptus tree. So eucalyptus grows many meters tall, and it's being sold in this little container. The plant was about that high in the container, and I just thought to myself, someone's going to take that home, not realise how big it gets, and have a massive tree on their hand if they're not careful. So just be aware that, check the labels to see the size of the plants, the ultimate size of growth, because you can be quite misled at this time of year thinking it's going to be a small plant, and in actual fact it's going to grow into a monster. And then just top up around the edges, making sure the root balls are all firmly in place. So they'll fill out beautifully there. So this is a pot which looks brilliant now. We'll then get the hyacinths coming up, and also those beautiful daffodils, two different types, two fragrant types, and also those lovely apricot fragrant hyacinths coming through as well. And they'll just push the way up through the rest of this foliage on the top, and we'll have a fantastic display. So this is going to go pride of place in our front garden, where it can look brilliant now and look even better when the bulbs come out during the spring. So all we need to do is just water it in, making sure that all that soil fits around the roots perfectly, and then we'll just place it at the front garden and let it get whatever weather comes at it. The free draining compost with the added grit will just make sure that it's not a soggy mess. That's why I've chosen the terracotta container, which allows the whole of this container to breathe, and also added lots of grit to the compost mix. I do hope you found this video enjoyable and informative. Please hit that like button, please subscribe, and if you do have any comments, please drop those in the comments box below the video. We'll see you very soon on the next video. In the meantime, please do take care, and happy gardening.